Stop! Look around you. Your entire survival depends on a fragile, invisible contract. The contract says every spring you must buy the seed. Every summer you must buy the fertilizer. Every fall you must harvest it completely, leaving nothing behind. Then you must buy the seed again. This is the annual cycle of modern food. It is the perfect system for profit. It is a risky system for survival. It is built on the model of perpetual dependence. When the supply chains break, when the fertilizer stops flowing from overseas, when the drought hits the monoculture fields, modern agriculture collapses into iron dust. Our corn, our over-specialized wheat, our fragile potatoes, they cannot handle the true chaos of the planet. They are designed to fade without our constant expensive intervention. But beneath your feet, outside the boundaries of that fragile contract, there is a revolution taking place. There is a root. It is not fading. It is not waiting for your money, your fertilizer, or your permission. It is simply thriving. This root has been underground all winter, laughing at the frost. It has stored energy that no drought can reach and that no corporate accountant can measure. And when the snow melts, it doesn't need a single dollar spent to start the next cycle. It simply rises again. It is the ultimate insurance against famine. It is the plant that asks for nothing and gives back everything. And it is the reason that for thousands of years, entire civilizations survived the long, cold darkness that our system now fears. What if I told you that there is a crop that yields double the harvest of potatoes, a plant that survives the cold that eliminates wheat? And once you plant it, you never have to buy seed again. It self-replicates it, multiplies it, is fundamentally indestructible, and yet you have likely never tasted it. You have likely never even heard its name, because in the eyes of industrial agriculture, this plant committed the ultimate regulatory paradox. It was too successful to be profitable. It was too independent to be allowed. We did not stop growing it because it failed. We stopped growing it because it was too strong to control. A crop that grows without permission, that feeds without cost, and spreads like wildfire cannot be monopolized. It cannot be privatized. It cannot be owned. And what cannot be owned cannot be sold year after year after year. This is the story of the perennial rebel that outlasted empires, survived 2 world wars, and still waits beneath your feet. This is the Sunchoke. If the truth of lost knowledge matters to you, hit the like button right now. It is how we ensure this story survives the digital blackout. Welcome to Ancient Crops Archive. The archive opens not with a discovery, but with a cultural exchange. The year is 1605. Samuel de Champlain lands on the coast of what is now Massachusetts. The Algonquin people, whose knowledge of survival was measured in millennia, welcomed him with a ceremony of food. Among the deer and corn was a knobby, unfamiliar root. They called it Kaishuk Panak, the sun root, a root that tasted like a sweet, subtle artichoke. Champlain, recognizing a source of power when he tasted it, filled the hold of his ship with these tubers and sailed back to France. He didn't know it, but he was importing the insurance policy of a continent. The Sunchoke Helianthus tuberosus spread rapidly across Europe. It wasn't seen as a luxury, it was a lifesaver. During the famines of the late 17th century, where wheat crops failed and potato blight threatened, Sunchoke saved French and German families from starvation. They called it topinambour. Its enduring legacy, however, was forged in the absolute hardship of conflict. During the wartime occupation of the Netherlands in the 1940s, food was systematically seized. The population faced a horrific famine known as the Hunger Winter. The official supply chain failed entirely, but the Sunchoke did not. Because the tubers grow deep and persist, even when the top foliage is gone, Dutch mothers quietly dug through frozen concrete hard soil to extract the sunchokes left behind from old gardens. It was the food that refused to be confiscated. It was the perennial rebellion growing right through the siege. This history is a warning. If you know someone who preps or gardens for self-sufficiency, share this video with them now. They need to know the true power of the perennial. Now, the core of its nutritional strength and its downfall in the modern age is its chemistry. The Sunchoke stores energy as inulin. This is the critical data point. Inulin is not starch. It is a long-chain fructan, a complex carbohydrate that the human body cannot break down with standard enzymes. The establishment ignored this fact, but the truth is, inulin is a powerful prebiotic fiber. It bypasses the small intestine entirely, landing perfectly in the colon, where it acts as rocket fuel for the beneficial bacteria in your gut. This is not mere gut health. This is systemic health stabilization. This process, however, is a double-edged sword. When beneficial bacteria in your gut ferment this potent inulin, it releases gas, a direct physical consequence of rapid high-powered digestion. This is the phenomenon that was leveraged against the Sunchoke, dismissed as indigestion or gaseousness. They took a sign of extreme potency and nutritional efficiency and branded it as a flaw. They used a simple biological reality to erase a food source that threatened their sales. Because inulin doesn't spike blood sugar like starch, Sunchoke has been documented by researchers at the University of Illinois for its incredible effect on glucose control. Studies have shown its potential to support healthy glucose levels. For a world increasingly challenged by metabolic issues, this is not just a food, it is a botanical powerhouse, one that grows for free. It also stabilizes your internal environment, bolstering the immune system and providing sustained low glycemic energy. It is a fortress high in iron, potassium, and packed with nearly 3 grams of protein per cup. And its endurance unrivaled. The Sunchoke stores its energy deep underground where the cold cannot penetrate. It survives temperatures that would turn the potato field into frozen mush. It is the perfect cold-hardy crop. In the summer, it doesn't just grow, it fights. It outproduces corn while using less than 1/3 the water. It is genetically engineered by millions of years of natural selection in North America to survive the chaos that climate change is already bringing. It doesn't need us. It just needs soil. And that is where the betrayal begins. If the Sunchoke is the great historical savior, the perfect survival food, the nutritional powerhouse that requires nothing, why is it now considered in many regions a nuisance or an invasive weed? A label that comes with a regulatory advisory for its removal. The answer, rebel historians, is not agricultural failure, but economic intolerance. The verdict for the Sunchoke wasn't biological. It was written in a corporate ledger. It wasn't officially banned in the classic sense, but it was classified a regulatory erasure. The industrial food machine is structured on a simple mandatory rule: recurring revenue. Every single product, corn, soy, annual wheat, is built on the concept of forced obsolescence. They must expire every winter, guaranteeing a new sales cycle every spring. This cycle generates a profit stream for 3 core industries. The seed conglomerates, they sell the patented hybrid seed annually. The agrochemical giants, they sell the chemicals required to sustain those weak hybrids. The machinery manufacturers, they sell the equipment needed to plant and harvest the delicate annuals. The Sunchoke broke all 3 pillars simultaneously. It is a perennial. You plant it once, and the tubers, the living bank account of the plant, self-replicate indefinitely. Pillar 1. Broken who buys the seed when your harvest is your next planting. The Sunchoke denies the seed conglomerate their annual fee. It thrives in degraded soil with minimal water. It sequesters carbon naturally and needs no petrochemical boost. Pillar 2. Broken. Who buys the fertilizer when the plant feeds itself? The Sunchoke starves the agrochemical giants. And crucially, because the tubers spread laterally and resist full harvest, it resists the giant expensive harvesting equipment. It refused to be eliminated, and it refused to be harvested completely. It resisted the machine. The decision to label the Sunchoke as unsuitable for commercial production was not based on its yield or nutrition. It was based on its independence. It was too free to be profitable. They couldn't patent it. They couldn't control its supply chain. They couldn't charge you for its seeds. So, they waged a quiet war of erasure. They pushed it out of school menus. They withdrew public funding for its research. They promoted the weak dependent annuals through government subsidies and massive advertising campaigns, elevating the vulnerability of the annual crop into a kind of virtue. They invested billions in researching crops that needed their chemicals, while the Sunchoke, which needed nothing, was left to fade. They allowed its natural side effect, the initial gaseousness from inulin, to become its public shame, overshadowing its life-saving nutritional benefits. The most dependable climate-resilient food on the continent was quietly buried by the sheer, overwhelming weight of corporate choice, replaced by crops that guaranteed someone else a dividend. It was not a loss of memory. It was a calculated systemic obsolescence. The annual contract is failing. History is repeating itself, but this time the scale is planetary. The stability that industrial agriculture promised is collapsing under the weight of climate chaos. Droughts, floods, extreme heat are the new normal. The crops feeding 8 billion people bread for yield in ideal conditions are now dangerously vulnerable. The corn belt is struggling. The potato crop is vulnerable. Monoculture is a liability, and suddenly, we are remembering the plant we tried to suppress. The Sunchoke was not bred for stability. It was born in chaos. It stores energy where drought cannot reach. It survives cold that ruins potatoes. It outproduces corn using 1/3 of the water. When industrial systems fail, the Sunchoke will be ready. It has been ready for 4 centuries. It doesn't need a single bailout or a single subsidy. It only needs a chance. The knowledge survives. It waits underground. It waits in every wild patch, in every escaped tuber, in every garden that proves the industrial lie is mathematically false. This is not just a food source. It is a blueprint for your independence. It is a lesson in biological sovereignty. Growing the Sunchoke is an act of defiance. It is a refusal to participate in the cycle of dependence. It refuses to be bought. It refuses to need fertilizer. It refuses to fade. It teaches through persistence, through a refusal to surrender its life cycle to the market. If you have Sunchokes growing in your garden or know a farmer who grows them, comment below with the regional name you call it. Let the archive of living knowledge be recorded right here beneath this video. We need to crowdsource the wisdom they tried to bury. We did not lose the Sunchoke. We just forgot it. But forgetting is not final. The knowledge lives in the soil. Every person who learns that planting 3 tubers in autumn yields 30 by spring becomes harder to control. Every gardener who proves that abundance can be free is chipping away at the foundation of the profit machine. When you plant this seed, you are not just gardening. You are building a stronghold. You are declaring that the abundance was always here, growing in the dirt free. You are claiming the power that they tried to bury. As one elder told the researchers, we grow it because it remembers how to live when everything else forgets. The Sunchoke is the great equalizer. It is the perennial rebel. This knowledge is here waiting for hands willing to dig. The Sunchoke is just one key, but the blacklist is long. Tepary, purslane, chufa. These are the forgotten keys to abundance, and we will open every lock. The secrets are waiting. If this vault opened something vital for you, subscribe to Ancient Crops Archive. Turn on notifications because the system does not want you to see the next video. Every like and every share preserves what they tried to erase. Prepare your garden. The next vault opens soon.